Back in November 2022, if you're an OG of Rust Console Edition, you'll remember a YouTuber going by the name of Serial Overdrive. Now, Serial Overdrive done an interview with Pedro, who was the leading community manager for the game. That is not the case now. We have Rustzilla, who is taking over that role. Now, he did a 44-minute interview with the community manager at Double 11 around Rust Console. It's crazy to think that we have this and compare what it was with the relationship of the community to its developers or to Double 11 to now in 2025, the lack of communication that we have now. Not just myself as a content creator that's, whinged about this, but a lot of people on Twitter, TikTok, probably the Discord as well, basically anywhere. They're kind of fed up, the community is fed up, and I wanted to kind of reflect as to where we were in 2022 with this interview and go over a couple things. I'll link the original video that's 44 minutes long in the description. Highly recommend you go watch that if you have the time to.
Right.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, like the main branch is supposed to be like the polished, more like, less experimental side of the game, while the staging branch, it's where we make the test and like everything goes wild. So for us, it was always like, let's test those servers, let's see how people react to them. Like the target practice servers, the builder paradise servers, let's just put them out there, like get some feedback on them, because like our iteration probably needs some changes. So let's get some feedback, let's see how they perform, and we'll go from there.
So what's good about this clip and the clips I'm going to be posting for you guys is that in this first one specifically, we see Pedro talking about how feedback is very much valuable. It always is to developers that develop games. In this instance, we haven't had that much of a communication, not that I have or that I've seen over social medias, aside from the Discord because I'm not in it. I haven't seen the give us some feedback on this or this, all these new updates we haven't been seeing. And if you're familiar with how Discord works, you can actually follow a channel. So within the Rust Console Discord, before I was booted from it, and the PTB, you could link their channels. So whenever they published or said anything in those specific channels on Discord, it would then go through to your Discord and basically link through there. And people in your Discord, for example, for mine, this might seem confusing, for mine, they would receive alerts from the Rust Console Discord. So it'd be a really good way for people that are banned for whatever reason, but still get intel from other Discords. And now, very much lately, we haven't been getting those updates linked or published through. So everyone else that has linked their Discord to this Discord channel within the PTB and the main branch, they haven't been getting those updates. This is something I've voiced to Rustzilla, and hopefully we get some answers, and hopefully they publish their answers within the Rust Console updates channel in the Discord for the future.
Because they do have community servers, so literally it's up to the community to create whatever they like and what they want. Our thing is like, we don't want to take away too much from the core Rust experience, right? The whole like just the monthly wipe type of thing, which is like that how Rust was created to be played. So gotcha. That's our like main focus, right? And everything that we introduce, it has to somewhat complement that experience in some way. At the same time, like we don't want to have like a bunch of like different game modes where people just completely spread around and then like things don't work as intended. So it's very like we want to keep our focus on the main game and on the main Rust experience, and then have the event servers as like type of off the ground experimental thing.
Now Pedro was 100% on the money at this moment in time. Everyone, including myself, including CNQR when we were a team, pretty much the biggest team on the game at the time, were saying we want community servers. I cried about it so much, and then community servers hit, and the launch of them wasn't great, and it completely took away what Rust was about. The vanilla style of survival, the grind, and all the effort you put in amounted to whether you were going to get offline, whether you're going to get online. That PvP battle that you had, that was so much more memorable because you would lose stuff and you'd have to gain it back. And console was very much renowned for just a vanilla survival based game. And Pedro was so correct in this statement, and it's something that I don't blame the developers for totally, because we have the DDoS issue and all this and that. However, the fact still remains, even if that wasn't an issue, community servers would still be there for 3x's, 10x's, like they're modded, people go play them now rather than vanillas, and the real way to play Rust has basically gone because of community. And I don't blame Double 11 for that, and I do apologise if I have in the past. It just is what it is, it's just what community servers gave us. I thought it would play out differently, but it's played out the way it has, and a lot of us really regret community servers and asking for them to come as soon as they did in 2024.
When do you think, or do you think, we're going to get bigger maps and you know, higher population servers? Because I know that's one thing that a lot of people, some people are getting raided too often. They want a bigger map so they can sort of find some sort of like little area to sort of like hold down, and then some people just want these like massive combats. Is that something that's
to be honest, at the moment there's no discussions about like going big in terms of player numbers or map sizes. And like part of it's all because it's connected to performance, right? So think of it like this, as performance improves, right, we can then naturally, without too much worry, try and expand the maps. And if it all goes well, then there will be no issue, right? But at the same time, like we operate under certain limitations because of the hardware that we work with. So yeah, we just like we need to be mindful of those. And as much as we would like to like just give everything that the players want, especially when it comes to like server sizes and player sizes in just the server itself, like it's a little bit tricky, and we need to make sure that doesn't completely like ruins the experience, right? So our focus is like, let's keep it balanced for now. Let's keep working on performance, keep doing our thing, improve stability and performance, and like release content that the players want to see. And eventually you will get to a point where, hey, maybe it's like we can bump the server numbers a little bit and go from 3K to 3.5 or even 4, you know, sometime.
Two key things to kind of take away from this is what Pedro has said is performance. We all know what he's referring to, the hardware limitations, not just old gen, but consoles in general. However, you open up a huge chest of possibility of what can happen to the game and how good it can look, how better it can run on the current gen consoles. However, they've, you know, stuck themselves in the mud with the fact they're still optimizing this game for old gen, which is basically halting this game in terms of progression because of the performance restrictions that these consoles have. And that also leads into how big maps can come into the game, such as 4km, 5km, and how many more players can join up a server. All performance based, and it's going to be halted if we still optimize for current gen and old gen, which also leads on to vehicles such as minicopters.
So yeah, like it can happen. It's not being discussed at the
that makes sense. And I guess along the same lines, like with vehicles, horses, minicopters, everything like that, is that something that we could expect, or is that something that's also not being talked about? Because I know with the smaller maps, adding some of that could throw the balance off.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the things, right? So on the 3K map is debatable if you really need like a vehicle to move around. Minicopters are a completely different story because they're just built in a way where like it kind of like expands the game. Like you can, for example, take a completely different approach to the oil rig or the cargo ship if you have a minicopter.
It completely changes rating. I mean, that's huge.
It changes rating. It changes a lot of the aspects from the game. Like you can literally just go on top of them, get the crates, and go out if you like.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's a whole different aspect to it. Also, they're very like, from what I know, very complicated to port because of how they operate.
Yeah, and there's a whole like cornucopia of bugs that'll come with it, I'm sure, because I know it wasn't.
It's more when I say it's complicated, it's more to do with like performance.
Okay, that makes sense too. Yeah, because I know even on PC you've got those rendering issues where sometimes you'll be in a minicopter and just a clan base pops up right in front of you and you crash.
My only hope for helis to come to the game is the fact that it's now 2025 and this video was recorded in 2022. Hopefully a lot of bugs have been fixed and things have been ironed out and refined. And as well, since then the graphics have got considerably worse. That's subjectively, but for some things it looks worse than what it used to back in 2022. And this, I believe, is to put in more stuff in the game and find that common balance of performance as well as aesthetics of how good the graphics can be, because they are optimizing both gens for the game. I hope Heli's come to the game. We obviously hinted at ourselves from the new vehicle controls that we got for tugs, and submarines as well. So hopefully we can kind of gauge where helis can come in. However, it's still a long shot, unfortunately, and we'll have to see with the roadmap what is to come.
What about like Twitch skins? I know, Rust PC has 1,000,001 Twitch events that are going on. It seems like every other week, basically. They've got charity events, charity skins, everything like that. Is that something that we could eventually see on the console version of Rust? Are there like limitations due to, I don't know, Xbox, PlayStation, all those stores, and sort of how all that works?
We had some talks internally about it already, but it's fairly recent. Skins, it's like we have a system for it at the moment, but it's definitely like not our highest priority, since like there's new content and other things that come to the game, right? So they're our main focus. But I would love to like personally have like Twitch drops in some sort of like form, even if it was like, I don't know, matching the PC in some sort of way. Charity skins also sound like a really awesome idea. So yeah, like we're up for like discussing it, but at the moment we have nothing concrete for them just yet.
There's got to be some regulation with what skins they can put into the game. They obviously can't carbon copy what PC has done, because there's obviously rights or copyrights on those as well. It's probably hard to get a content creator's design onto a weapon put onto the game, because if I'm correct in saying, they probably would have already done that with Obi being their poster boy for the game and getting a lot of eyes. He gets 100,000 views per video, which is crazy to think that we still feel as if Rust Console's small. However, his videos are getting 100,000 views, and that's a given. Obviously, not all of those players are playing Rust Console. Still good to see, though, that he's getting those views, which has more eyes onto the game itself. But still, I'm surprised that there's no real content creator drop in terms of skins. I don't know if there would be a contract because of how much Obi would make. Let's say, for example, if he was to make one, how much he would get of the cut, and then how much Double 11 would get. I'm pretty sure there's something to do with Microsoft as well. There's obviously a lot more regulation in place than there is with PC, because it's with Steam, and I'm guessing it's a lot harder to kind of run through with Microsoft and Sony.
Regarding mouse and keyboard cheaters, everything like that. So obviously on PC, you've got a huge problem with that. On the consoles, I feel like there's not as much of a aimbot problem, but there's definitely a lot of people using mouse and keyboard. Is there anything in the works to catch them? I know this is something that literally every game has trouble with, so I don't expect... I mean, if D11 could come out with some system that was perfect, you guys would be in the business of selling that system to everybody, I think. But are there any plans to try and do something about it?
So we do take action against stuff like that when we have like enough evidence and proof that a player is using some sort of like third-party device or promoting it. We do take action, because that's totally against our code of conduct. Thing is, we get a lot of like false reports as well, right? Because like you said, aimbot is not so much of a problem. I can literally tell you, like, it's not a problem at all, because it doesn't exist on consoles. You cannot inject packs. So aimbots, see-through walls, all
none of that can exist on console. It's just impossible.
That doesn't exist. The best you can do is like have some better control on the recoil, and like with the use of third-party devices, or use mouse and keyboard. And since those are like external devices, as much as we would like to like work on a system to like just detect the software and do something about it, there's no software, so we cannot do it.
All right, that's fair enough.
But we are taking measures. Just wanted to like take the opportunity to reiterate that most of the reports that we got, like a lot of them are like fake reports.
Now, when Pedro says there's a lot of fake reports, I do agree. There are a lot of reports where people get killed once, and even without seeing their point of view, they get killed once and then they report them. There's probably a whole host of fake reports. However, there's a lot of reports that are true and that have been banned I've suggested they should go on TikTok and just do a ban wave. They sort of did that when someone outed of how many people were actually cheating. But what is also a good point is that we wanted transparency that the PC community had, where FacePunch actually delivered the data and the statistics of how many people they had banned within the year. Now, if we were to see that with console, we would actually see that they may not have actually banned that many players. And because within the Discord when I was there, mods were saying, oh, there's only 1% of the community that cheat, which in my opinion isn't the case. But let's say for argument's sake that is true, 1% of the community cheat. There still wouldn't be that many bans. And as well, Pedro also, whether he stated in the previous clip or not, he's said that Double 11 isn't a huge company when it comes to staff on the project of Rust console, because they have loads of other projects where they have dedicated staff on that game, and now he's obviously moved to Blind Fire within 2025. So when it comes to Rust console, there may not be a huge staff team. So of course, you're shooting yourself in the foot when you put 1 or 2 people on looking at the reports that this game gets. You're never going to get through them. You either have to have an AI based thing, or you have to pay for whatever other game is using an anti-cheat or more staff to look into the cheating problem. It's something that needs to happen, and even in 2025 it's still bad from 2022. So it just goes to show that not much has really happened and a lot still needs to happen.
Is there anything that's being done to fix lag? And then one of the things I'm so bad at the game, I can't even complain about invalids most of the time. I feel like I'm just missing anyways. But a lot of people have complained about invalids. Is there anything being done to fix that? So like one of the things that I think some games do is they'll introduce fog or something like that. So like right now we've got this Rust console village. Too many buildings are there. A lot of people with PS4s or Xbox Ones, they just log in and crash. Is there some sort of thought, or there's some sort of work in progress of like a system that might just dump fog onto the map so people just had a lower visibility and they wouldn't crash as much? Is there anything being done to sort of work on the net code and fix invalids, or is this a lot of this just players having bad Wi-Fi and blaming you guys?
There's both. Actually, like in regards to the fog, I'm not completely sure. That's a very good call. I think that's probably an option that we can explore if we didn't yet, because maybe we did and I just don't know of it.
I'm probably diving like too technical into it, I guess.
This is something I've said repeatedly in videos. Like if you go on a server such as an Aussie server and you're from the UK, you're bound to get invalid. So what is the point? And obviously vice versa at that point. But invalids still is a problem. I think it's going to be a problem regardless. You just sort of have to go with the servers that you should be going for. So if you're EU, go for EU servers. If you're US, stay on US servers. Invalids are just sort of going to be there as an annoying friend. What I really liked as well is that Pedro is a really nice guy when you do talk to him. I've put across so many questions to him where now I think it's insane I even got a response about the questions I asked him, and it was really nice for him to talk about the things he did, and I appreciate that. As well as he gave feedback back to the dev team, whether it was right or wrong of the feedback that I was given, he still gave it back to them. And it's something we don't really get at all in the last couple of months. I don't know whether that's to do with my reputation of some videos people deem not correct, and for that I do apologize, or vice versa, whatever you want to call it. You know, I'm there to be liked and disliked. I'm just here to put my opinion on things, both opinion and fact. And you're not doing it right if, you know, there's certain people that don't like you. But when something good happens to Rust console, I will applaud and credit the Double 11 team for a good job. So let's hope this roadmap is good. I just wanted to have a look at what it was like in 2022, how the game looked, and how the dev team was, or the community managers were so much more involved with its community rather than being so discharged from its community in the present day of 2025. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Hopefully we get the dev blog either tomorrow or the 27th. If it's the 27th, I'll try and live stream it. Subscribe if you're new around here, like the video if you enjoyed, dislike it if you disliked the video, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.